Hey there, welcome to another edition of This Week in the Heavens, what we're going to be seeing, all kinds of really interesting things. Thanks for joining us. Why don't we dive right in? I want to welcome all of you joining me from wherever you are around the world. I hope you're getting some clear skies. There's been lots of things in space news. Did you see Richard Branson's space flight? We're opening up a new era of space tourism, perhaps something to watch for if you're interested in all things space. That was big news this weekend. And of course, the night sky is big news too. We'll get to that in a minute. I've got the chat room open. All comments are welcome. I love looking at where all of you, my stargazing friends, are located around the world. We've got Sadia joining us from Victoria, Australia. Annie is in UK and says that it's very cloudy. I know what that's like. In Montreal, Canada, where I'm talking to you, we're regularly in the summertime somewhere between 50 to 60% cloudy. It's a very unstable time, July and August, and weather. We get rolling thunderstorms popping up in the afternoon with a buildup of a lot of humidity and haze. So sky watching can be a little tricky. And of course, the nights here where I am, we're about 45 degrees latitude. It gets pretty dark late at night. So you don't get a very long night to do sky watching, but there's still a lot of stuff. So love to see all of you everywhere around the world, and just pop in where you're watching from. I'd love to hear that. So first off, big news also is there is possibility of auroras, northern lights, especially in high latitude regions. NOAA forecasters in the US are saying that there is a potential for that. My friends at spaceweather.com highly recommend this website. I love going here to find out what kind of aurora possibilities there are, what's happening on the sun. And today they're saying there's a chance of a geomagnetic storm, which is basically particles from the sun being thrown off the surface of the sun. That is something that's happening from this giant equatorial hole. You can see right here, this big, the words black here, this is where solar wind is originating from. Basically a lot of solar material coming off of the sun. Some of that material is heading towards the Earth, and it's giving us chances of auroras. And already there's been unexpected northern lights. Here's a wonderful picture taken from Michigan. the state of Michigan in the United States, in its upper peninsula region. This is closer to the border with Canada, and you can see that reddish orange glow there in the distance behind. Wonderful picture. They have a photo gallery you can check out with other pictures of auroras. Here's one from Montana as well. You can see that distinctive green glow in the horizon. So this is something that may be popping up in the next few days as well. So if you're in higher latitude regions across Canada, across northern Europe or Asia, this is something that may happen in the next few days thanks to solar wind coming off of the sun surface. So stay tuned for that. So that's something really neat to watch. Why don't we now turn to the planetarium program? Here we are. This is the sky set up for Monday, July 12th. And the big news right now, if you haven't seen it yet, get outside after your local sunset and look for Mars and Venus in a very close conjunction, meaning they're very close together in the sky. This is all happening towards the low western sky. So you want to find a spot tonight on Monday night or Tuesday night this week and see Mars really close to Venus. Now, Venus is going to be and Mars are going to be joined also by the crescent moon on Monday, July 12th. So as I'm recording this, I'm getting excited because this is going to be something visible tonight. I'm going to try to look for this myself, and I highly recommend this. This is going to be a wonderful photo opportunity too, because it's close to the horizon, low in the sky in the west. It'll be a great way to frame a shot with maybe trees, buildings, hills in the distance, above the water. This would be something really beautiful to be able to take a photograph. And you can see here, the moon will act as a wonderful guidepost, a really beautiful thin crescent moon. There'll even be a star called Regulus just left of the moon. This is the lead star. Regulus is in the constellation Leo the Lion. This is a springtime constellation and setting very close after sunset, so we can't really see too much of the constellation at this point of the year. But the bright lead star, which is about 77 light years from Earth, Regulus is, will be right next to the moon. So watch for that. And then underneath that will be Mars and Venus. Now, Venus is easy to see with the naked eye. It's a very bright star-like object. And the fainter companion to Venus will be planet Mars. You can see right here through binoculars. This is about what you would see. This is the view through binoculars if you have that. And of course, if you have a telescope and you zoom in really close up, you can actually see both planets in a single view through your small telescope. So you put a low power eyepiece into your telescope, and this is what will greet you. The planet Mars will be on the left. It'll shine with at a much fainter brightness than Venus. Vast difference, over 200 times difference in brightness between the two planets. And Mars is going to have that very distinctive orange ruddy color. Of course, that's because of all the iron oxide that covers the planet, that dust, that famous Martian dust that covers everything. Even the rovers on Mars have been covered with this Martian dust. If you look it up on NASA's images, you'll see that. And the two planets are really beautiful sight through binoculars and even the unaided eye. And to the unaided eye, this is what will greet you Monday night with the thin crescent moon. Check that out. Best time to see it is usually starting around 20 minutes to 30 minutes after your local sunset. This is sunset. Now, if you miss it on Monday night because it's cloudy or you don't get a chance to see it, then this is what will greet you on Tuesday night, July 13th. You'll see the moon has now moved off to the upper left towards the southern sky, but it has created this wonderful lineup with Regulus, the star, again, the lead star in Leo, and then Mars, Venus together. Now, what I want you to look at closer up is that Mars and Venus will still be super close together. Look at that. That will be the view. Mars will now be tucked underneath Venus as opposed to being on the side of Venus, left side of Venus on Monday night. By Tuesday evening, this Mars will be tucked underneath Venus. Still an amazing sight, beautiful sight, in store for Tuesday as well. And if you miss it on then, but or would like to keep watching, check this out. By Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, look at that. Do you see that? What's happening? Mars is pulling away from Venus. Venus, the two planets are getting farther apart. Still a fantastic sight all week long, and it's fun to watch as Mars and Venus kind of get more distant. So, I like to say that Mars and Venus have a kiss on Monday evening together, and then the two planets wander off. Of course, Venus is the god of love, while Mars is the mythical god of war, and the two pull apart as we go to the end of the week into the weekend. And you can see Regulus is even on Friday, or next week, it'll be by next week, Friday, it'll be wedged in between the two planets. And we'll talk more about that next week. I'll make sure I'll put out a reminder for you on that. But moving back to sunset skies again, so that's every day of this week. Try to go out and follow the two planets. It'll be a lot of fun. Now, if we watch the later into the evening, the moon will set about within the first 2 hours of the sunset. The moon will set following the sun, which leaves behind dark skies for most of this week, late in the night. And what I'd like you guys to look for is a deep sky object. Without the moon in the late evening sky, it's a perfect time to look for deep sky objects. And one of the ones that I absolutely love is one that we find in this constellation Scorpius. The Scorpius, the giant mythical arachnoid in the sky, is easy to see no matter where you are in the world. You could be in Australia, or you could be in Italy, you could be in Beijing, China, you could be anywhere. And basically all around the world, you can see this wonderful constellation. It's got this very distinctive curve or hook. In certain Polynesian ancient cultures, this was named basically the giant fish hook. And in mythical Greek and Roman mythology, it's the stinger, the tail and stinger of a giant scorpion. What's interesting, you'll see this hazy band that stretches right across. This is in the southern sky late at night. Anytime this week, no moon, you'll see the Milky Way band cutting right behind this constellation. So if you've got dark skies, maybe you're out in the countryside, you can get away from the city, you'll begin to see the glow of the Milky Way band. Now, if you're stuck in the city, then get out those binoculars and telescopes and sweep this part of the sky with your telescope or binoculars. It's just a beautiful sight. Through binoculars, you can spend hours just looking through the Milky Way. Remember, you're looking at the combined light of millions and millions of stars in our home galaxy that we call the Milky Way. And that's the combined light is what causes this glow in the sky, this band we call the Milky Way that stretches in this part of the sky, this time of the year, in the late night is visible. And so we're getting back to Scorpius. You'll see Scorpius there. And of course, the easiest part of Scorpius to pin down is Antares, this bright orange star that sits about 550 light years from Earth. It's amazing that it just is a testimony to that despite this vast distance from Earth, this star is one of the brightest stars in our sky. It's incredible. At 550 light years away, it is one of the brightest stars. So do check that out, Antares. And what is beautiful about this area of sky, it's filled with deep sky objects that are far away outside of our solar system. And one of these beautiful objects that are beside Antares, there's a few of them, but the one I want you to look for is M4. M4 is a globular cluster that sits about 7,400 light years away. Imagine that. Think of what I just said, 7,400 light years away. That's right here. It's marked by this cross here, right there. M4, Messier 4, it's the fourth object in Charles Messier, the French astronomer from the 17th century, who cataloged some of the brightest objects in our night skies. This is the fourth object in his catalog of 110 objects, and it's considered one of the classic things that we can see in the sky. Now, if you've got binoculars, it will look like a faint little cotton ball. That's right, a faint little cotton ball is what you'll see. And I'm going to zoom in on what the view will be through a backyard telescope. Let me just move this across here. There we go. So you can see that is approximately the field, the extent of how wide the field of view. If you point it at Antares, that orange star with your binoculars, you'll see just beside it this faint cotton ball. Now, of course, if you have a telescope and you zoom in even more, this is about the view that you would get through a backyard telescope. That's about the extent of it. Now, what does it look like through a telescope as a picture? It's just gorgeous. Here's a picture I'll show you that was taken through a backyard telescope, a long exposure photograph. It's a city of stars. Over 100,000 stars are packed in a ball-shaped configuration. So it's a circular ball-shaped configuration of 100,000 stars. You can see they're really jam-packed at the center, and then they spread out on all sides. And the extent of this object, M4, this what we call a globular star cluster, it extends about the same size as the full moon does in the sky. Imagine that. So the moon, of course, the full moon is very bright. You can see the disk of the full moon. Now imagine that's how much real estate in the sky this object takes up for us when we look. But we can't see it, really. We only see the very, very faintly with the naked eye from a very dark sky. If you have truly dark skies, you can see the core stars, the very core stars at the center, like maybe this part where you can see my cursor is. The very, very center core, and it looks like a faint fuzzy dot. You can tell with the naked eye, but with binoculars, it looks like a distinct fuzzy cotton ball. Again, that will only show you the central part. And really, it takes long exposure photography to show the full extent of it, which stretches about 30 arc minutes, a little more than 30 arc minutes. So that's about the size of the disk of the moon. So if I would put the disk of the moon, it would cover this entire globular cluster in our sky. Now, that's not the real size of the moon. Remember, this is just what it appears in our earthly skies to us as we look up. That's how much space in the sky this globular cluster actually is parked there in Scorpius that it takes up. So if I zoom out, this is the lay of the land. This is what you'll see with the naked eye. You're looking for that bright, super bright orange star Antares in the southern sky about 2 hours after your local sunset. Now, any time this week is great because the moon is out of the late night sky. So check that out. Without the moon's glare, this is the time to look for deep sky objects. And M4, this beautiful globular cluster sitting 7,400 light years away, is a wonderful object to check out. So I want you to take advantage of that. And if you wait a little bit longer at night, and if you're a late night owl or an early riser, and you look towards the eastern sky, look at what's happening. So really close to around your local midnight, a great way to cap off your night observing is our friends Jupiter and Saturn, finally in our evening skies. If you've been following my episodes, we've been looking at Jupiter and Saturn in the early morning before dawn, and now they finally have moved into the late night evening skies. It's a more civilized time to do sky watching for most of us, and Jupiter and Saturn are beautiful planets to examine and explore with binoculars and telescopes. Jupiter is the brighter of the two on the left of Saturn, to the left of Saturn, which is a little bit fainter, but it has that distinct creamy yellow color. Really fantastic. And Jupiter's in the constellation Aquarius, whilst Saturn is in Capricornus, the sea goat constellation. Now, one little sneak peek before I leave you guys for this week is that the Delta Aquarids, let me just see if I can get that up here. The Delta Aquarid meteor shower will be peaking in the next couple of weeks. But I wanted to quickly mention that to you guys to bring that up. You can see this in this animation as Delta Aquarids. This is the radiant, the source of this meteor shower. It's a great entree to the grand meteor shower, which is coming in mid-August. Don't forget, on August 11th, 12th, and 13th, the grand Perseid meteor shower will be peaking. But before that is a smaller meteor shower, a less intense one called the Delta Aquarids. And you can expect somewhere between 15 to 20 shooting stars, 15 to 20 shooting stars to peak in the next couple of weeks. So it's going to start ramping up now until the end of July. You'll start seeing these shooting stars zipping across the sky that are associated with the Delta Aquarids. So the source is in the Aquarius constellation, just below where Jupiter is. That's why I thought I'd bring this in, because if you're looking at Jupiter and Saturn late at night around your local midnight time, you'll know that that is, and you see some shooting stars, they're most likely you can trace them back to this area in the sky called the Delta Aquarid meteor shower radiant. So check that out. Something to whet your appetite, get all set and get jazzed up about, of course, the grand Perseid meteor shower in August. The Delta Aquarids is a great entree to that and whets our appetite for more shooting stars and more wishes that we can make in our skies. So that's it for this week. Jam-packed stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be posting sky charts on my timeline. And if you like my videos, then please do show your support by subscribing, whether you're watching on my Facebook channel, on YouTube, or Twitch. I'd love to see your support by giving me a thumbs up, sharing it with your network. Let's get more people out stargazing. It's a fun hobby, and it's great for everyone from all walks of life at all ages. Thanks so much for joining me, and I wish all of you guys this week, as I always do, clear skies. Bye-bye.